Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chris Riley Show with that guy, Glenn.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Project Talk, your favorite Sunday afternoon, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube show. There's only 7 people in here right now, so it'll take a little while, and then it'll get up to 10. So I'll run down the chat real fast, and it will be real fast because there really aren't very many people in here. That's what I meant to put. I was going to put on that timer. Like I was going to put a thing on there that says like, say hi in chat. So I wrote that new timer today just for something different. The timer that I've usually used was the one built into StreamYard. So I wanted something that wasn't out of the box. And I'm trying to teach myself After Effects.
A lot to learn.
It's not bad. It's just very overwhelming. But so Andy is here, Mitch is here, Brian's here, Alan Osborne's here, Chris Lane from Venturi 3D, Nadav is here, Sergio's here, Clint is here, Ollie is here, Thomas, the Maker Viking is here, Lars is here. I think that's it. So if I missed you, raise your hand, and if I called you out twice, that's a bonus for you. The basement looks so great, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. It's overwhelming to say the least.
I'm gonna full screen you there for a second so that those who haven't seen it can see it.
It's a lot cleaner than it used to be.
It's it's got a very modern look to it now.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do, so I just steal ideas from others. That's basically how I roll. So
it's not how we all got where we are.
Somebody, not too probably a couple months ago now, but because I did this and I think I got finished in like October or something like that. Somebody in the comments said, "You stole Tom's studio space," and I just replied, "Mine now."
Well, when I moved out here into this new space, which looks a lot like the old space because I'm not very creative that way, but I told James that I was going to go get some faux brick for the back wall and put my logo up there with some blue light behind it.
There you go.
He said, "Well, it won't help with your subscriber count, I can tell you that."
Yeah, people are talking about my keyboard in the chat. This is the old man keyboard I bought for like $5 because I couldn't see my old keyboard anymore.
That's a proper colored keyboard right there.
There you go. It's the loudest one I could find.
I got to turn on the other chat so I can see. I bet Glenn loves the keyboard too. I buy everything in black and yellow that I can find. Now, if it comes down to where like I know something is good quality versus something I have no idea and it's black and yellow, I'll go with the good quality. But if I'm looking to buy something, the first thing I do is see if it's available in either yellow or black and yellow. Depending on what it's getting used for. I mean, my kids are tired of dressing in black and yellow. Oh. Yeah, see, do you see all the comments in the chat? Will they start on time? Because James and I
didn't we?
Pretty close. I don't know. It had to have been within a minute or so. But I tell you, every week James and I have problems. And for you guys out there, so that you know, I did have technical difficulties today. But I came out here at 4:00 today to get everything set up, and I had like 1 megabit upload speeds, which would have been garbage for the stream. So I had to scramble and go in. And at first I thought it was cabling, so I'm changing cabling. And then I had to go all the way in and up the stairs. So like a mile from here and reboot the modem. And that seems to have taken care of the problem. So I'm going to start to see names pop in here that I don't recognize because they're here for you.
Well, I don't pull them in like I used to, but still got a few fans in here and there.
Well, I can generally tell the people that don't show up on a regular basis because My regulars all have wrenches. I went on a spree one night. We had a bunch of spammers hitting us, and I just went on a spree and like gave everybody mod rights.
Excellent.
But it's the same group of people that show up every week. So, but I see Stephen the Lightspeed is here, and welcome Andrew S. I don't know if I'm familiar with you, Andrew, but welcome.
Yeah, Andrew S has been around a long time. He's saying his wife, oh, it's these guys. I love it when not just a person watches, but their family knows who I am. That always makes me laugh.
Well, and then I did consider playing the old Fun in the Country Basement intro. This one.
I love that one so much.
I don't know, like StreamYard lets you keep all that stuff in here, so like I never deleted it out. So I mean, I still have like I have the splash screen.
Nice.
Oh, it's good stuff. Oh, Sergio throwing down the 10 US dollarinos. Let's continue the new garage door fund. That's fantastic. So that's now $20 in the garage door fund, and the garage door is only like $2,000. Well on the way. It is much appreciated, sir. There's the tone. Shout out to Spot On too. Spot On, if you're watching, thank you for the subscription. Oh, I have big news. I already told Chris, but I have big news. I filmed a video for Fun King 3D yesterday. So I'm hoping to have that out this week. Walter's going to sue somebody.
Poor
Yeah,
Walter.
Walter always has an open invitation to come on too. So
Yeah, he's called me like 3 times, and every time, like in the last, I talked to him probably like 2 or 3 months ago, but like last week, I think he tried to get a hold of me like 3 times, and I was on some massive call every time he tried to call me. I finally just sent him a text, and I'm like, man, I'm sorry, I've been really busy. He's like, oh, I forget that people have day jobs.
I had exactly the same problem for like 2 weeks. He was trying to get hold of me, and he'd either call me when, like one time he called me when I was welding. So like I don't stop doing what I'm doing, and then I look, and then if he calls you and you go to call him back, he's gone into the house and he doesn't have cell signal.
Right.
So then you can't call him back. So
Yeah.
I left him a voicemail, and I'm like, tag, you're it? You know?
A lot of times when he calls me, he's driving, and like, he's swearing at someone or, something. Who knows what's going on? But
Oh, that sounds like Walter for sure.
you gotta love that guy. He keeps life so interesting.
That he does. Well, and he randomly stops by here because
Oh, yeah?
he'll be at Disney. And then
Okay.
all of a sudden he'll like be driving home in the middle of a Monday, and he'll just show up while I'm working, and I'm like, man, I gotta work. I want to chat, but I gotta work. And Mondays are always terrible for me anyway. But and with my social anxiety disorder, anytime somebody rings that doorbell, like I immediately go into an anxiety attack, and then I look at my Ring doorbell and I'm like, oh, it's Walter. So then it's more anxiety. No. Oh. Wow, chat is super active today. Look, we're already up. Well, we were at 17. Now we dropped to 15. We lost 2. But that's pretty good. They're definitely here for you, Chris.
Well,
like,
I'm glad they came.
They're like, finally, that Canadian guy's gone. Just kidding, James. Love you, buddy.
I sent Glenn that message this morning, and I said, "Solo, eh?" And then on the side, Canadian.
Well, yeah, whatever it takes. James sits in the basement. You sit in the basement. It's it's kind of the same. Well, and then when you sent me the message about 4:30, and I'm like, yep, and I thought, oh, he's in a different time zone. I'm not used to that.
Yep.
RCCNC said they're coming for you, Glenn. No, I'm just that guy, Glenn. That's the Chris Riley. I wanted to do like some jazzy big intro with like spotlights and your name all glittery, and then like do a voiceover. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally present to you the Chris Riley Show. But like this was only the third time I think I've ever touched After Effects. So it's very daunting. It's very daunting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, but Sean, Shenanigans Sean, was doing all my editing. And then Sean went and got a real job.
Yeah.
About 2.5 hours south of here. So all of a sudden, him being around wasn't as easy. So we had a bit of an issue getting stuff filmed, and it was like 3 weeks I hadn't released a video on the Garage channel, and it would have been 4 because he ended up having to work. They were getting ready to wrap up this season, but it would have been 4, and I was panicky. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to do some editing, and I think the video turned out pretty good. So far, the thumbs ups on the videos have said that it's a pretty good video, but so now not only do I have to do the work, I also have to film the work. I also have to edit the work. It's like it's a one-man show when it should be like a 5-man show, but
Yep.
so,
I completely understand. The production value you have on that is pretty impressive.
Well, because I had Sean.
Right.
I mean, that's what he does. So then now it's not that I've never touched, editing. Obviously, I've edited videos through the years, but I have a couple of benefits to the way that I used to do videos. Nothing moves.
Right.
It's the same. The camera is always right there. The background is always the same, with exception of little things. So if I had to reshoot something, I could. The Garage stuff, a lot of that stuff is one time. There's no. In fact, with Sean filming, like he would have me do something and he'd be like, all right, now do that again so I can get a different angle. So it got to the point where I'd have to say to him, I can only do this once. This is a one-time maneuver. So get the angle you want because I can't do this a second time. But Brian said you have kids for that though. Yeah, one I don't know. I gave him the GoPro. Zach, I gave him the GoPro one day. He did okay with that. I wouldn't hand him the big camera. No, that would not bode well. So, but
what kind of camera do you shoot that show
on? In the very beginning, it was a small handful of GoPro 3s, and you can actually tell in the beginning that they were GoPro 3s, and there's so much footage missing because those things would just randomly shut off. But now I'm filming on a Sony, is it A6300? I think I'll confirm that, but I don't think it's 30. I think it's 6300. Somebody in the chat can correct me if they know anything about cameras, because I don't. And a GoPro 10, which if you've not experienced a GoPro 10, those things are phenomenal.
Huh.
They overheat like crazy, but they have a mode in there. If you're not doing wide, if you're doing standard, 4K, I guess you can get up to 5.3, but I film in excuse me, 4K. But you can rotate that thing up to 44 degrees and it stays perfectly flat like this. Now, as soon as you hit 45, it switches.
Yeah.
But like if you're walking with it like this, and you're like, it's perfectly flat, horizontal stabilization. Like you'll still get bobbing like this, but you don't get any rocking back and forth. So like when you set, like, because I use a lot of like clamp on mounts for it and small tripods and stuff, you just got to get it close to being horizontal and it'll be horizontal to the earth.
That's cool.
It is. It's really neat. So I'm hoping to add another one of those to my collection because they're small too. So you can like jam them down into engine bays and stuff, and you can get that cool shot, like where when you're opening the hood, you got the camera already under the hood. And
RCCNC wants to know what I'm working on. I've just got a handful of things. I should probably do, clean up some stuff. I got a filament sensor on this printer that I've been meaning to fix for a while, so I figured I'd look at that. Or maybe do nothing. I don't know.
I always like pick these projects and then I never end up doing them. I did print my Prusa wind mouths. I printed
Nice.
2 just in case.
You always
So
need your
I'm
wood
hoping
mount.
that's my thermal runaway issue on that thing. And then I do want to pull that wiring harness off the FK1 and fix. It broke the BL Touch portion of the wiring harness. It's the only thing that I use stock wiring on. Everything else I use silicone wire, and then I use the stock BL Touch wire harness.
Yeah.
It didn't hold up, so it's a Sony A6400.
A6400.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Yeah, I know almost zero about cameras.
yeah, ditto. I mean, like, but again, I had a Sean.
Right.
I'm like, all right, so if I'm gonna buy a camera, and he's like, well, I have a camera. I'm like, yeah, but I don't always have your camera, so I'm gonna buy a camera so that I'm not filming off of GoPros. And it's been pretty good. Now I don't know anything about photography or videography, so I pretty much always film in auto mode, and I know that'll
Right.
make people cringe, but and then this camera has it's got autofocus with facial recognition. It locks to your eyeballs. And it'll even do it for an animal. It'll lock to an animal's eyeballs, and the
Cool.
focus will follow the eyeballs. So that's kind of neat. Look at all these people coming in. We're at 22, Chris. I haven't had a 22-person audience in forever.
All right.
I don't know. See, now I'm torn. Is it because it's you here, or is it because James isn't here?
Let's not answer that question.
No, because James is already really hard on himself, and I'm sure he's going to go back and watch this to see what kind of mean things I said about him.
Yeah, that's the last thing I want. Are you and the family? I mean, are you even remotely interested in going to Murph this year? Are you guys going to come?
I want to go to Murph. I wouldn't bring the family this year.
Yeah.
The kids have like all kinds of camps and stuff that they're planning to go to. Plus, with travel being so expensive,
Right.
I don't really want to drag them around. I haven't talked to Uncle Ron lately, but we kind of have a in motion plan that we're both going to fly into Chicago and rent a car together.
Cool.
And maybe stuff a Mitch in the trunk. I haven't, we don't know how that's going to work out yet either, if we can all land at the same time. But, and then we'll drive over, because I can't afford to drive up. Mainly not in my truck at $7 a gallon for diesel, but yeah, I definitely want to. And if I don't make Murph, I don't even know if I said this publicly, but I had plans that was going to interrupt IRF. I wasn't going to be able to make it to IRF because of stuff that I had already promised to be at, committed to be at for the garage channel, but that has fallen through. So if I don't make Murph, I'll be at IRF. But if I make Murph, I probably won't get to make IRF. Is that the right IRFs?
Yep, that's all the IRF.
And then, of course, I've got Orlando Maker Faire in November, and I have full intentions on exhibiting this year. So
that's in November, you say?
Yeah, it's in November. The FK1 has to get out once in a while. It's got a fancy crate and it never gets used.
Yeah, I've actually kicked around going down there for that, just so I could see all you folks.
It's a good show. I mean, as far as maker fairs go, unfortunately, it's not all 3D printing, but that's kind of what I like about it, because when you go to a Murph or Nerf, everybody there is 3D printing.
Right.
And there's only a very small handful of people who have never really seen it or not into it. As where with the maker fairs, I get a bunch of kids that come to the table that have no clue and they're absolutely mesmerized by it. And that's what
Yeah.
I like. I like to see that spark in their eyes where they're like, "Hey, wait, this is pretty cool. I could do something with this."
I like going to the maker fairs, one, because there's all kinds of crazy stuff. Like that's the first time I ever saw Power Wheel racing.
Oh
I
yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing. But but also it's like the ultimate ego trip, because I go to or Murph is like, yeah, we know that guy. Yeah, we've seen him like a million times. Who cares? But if you go to one of these maker fairs and somebody actually knows you, it's pretty cool.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's why when Xander and I went to New York Maker Faire in 17, and we weren't 25 feet in the gate, and somebody yelled, "Fun King!" And it was like, and the guy's like, "Oh, I watch all your videos." And I'm like, "No, you don't." And he's like, "Yeah, I do." And I'm like, "No, you don't." Like, it wouldn't register. Of course, Xander went in there thinking that everybody was going to be knocking us down to get autographs and photos.
Well, of course. So when people say that to me, like, I watch all your videos, I'm like, why? I still can't figure it out.
Do you have that sad of a life?
Jeez. Poor guy.
Man, I wouldn't even watch my own videos if I didn't have to.
Yeah, I don't want to watch them.
But that is the reason that I love the maker fairs so much, is because you do have people that don't know 3D printing. And then, when I drag that thing along, I get the people who do know 3D printing, but yet they're blown away by that.
Right.
So, well, this I probably should have put the nut back in there. This wind mouth does not look bad. It's a little melted. So I don't know, and I didn't bring it out. I don't know if you know this, but I had a major globulation problem on a print, and I mean it was massive. It was like I don't know, 2 pounds of filament stuck to the.
Super impressive, huh?
It was this huge, like it was about the size of 4 marshmallows, like
Wow.
about that diameter, but like this long globule stuck off of there. And so ever since then, I had problems with this, and I worked on it on a stream one day, and we figured out that there was filament wrapped around the pulley on the Y motor, and it was causing the bed to not only chug when you rolled it, because it was bigger on one side, but it was causing the bed to move more than the stepper motor knew, because the pulley was now larger.
Right.
So like we were doing a bunch of stuff, and I was taking suggestions from everybody, and like nothing was working. And all of a sudden I seen this little piece of blue fuzz sticking out of there. So I grabbed it with tweezers, and like a lot came out, and I'm like, oh, wasn't that interesting? And I cleared a lot of filament out from that pulley.
Wow.
And so then I printed a benchy, which I don't think I have that out here either. I pretty much grabbed what I wanted and brought it out here, and everything else is still in the house. But I printed a benchy that's probably the most perfect benchy I've ever printed.
Nice.
Like it was the only thing that was wrong with it is your typical Prusa, that ringing.
Yeah.
That all the Prusas have for whatever reason. But this was the other issue, because if I print PLA, it would get thermal runaway. It was cooling the nozzle as soon as the fan kicked on. So I'm just hoping that it's a bad wind mouth. At least it's easy to change. This is a really great hot end design.
On the Prusa?
Yeah. I mean, you can generally change out most of the parts pretty easily.
The only thing that would be not, I mean, I love rep wrap everything, right? I mean, that's what I think is so cool about this whole thing, is the replicating part, right?
Right.
So I wouldn't want to change that about a Prusa printer, but that would be one of the only things that I would say why you wouldn't want to use printed parts is because, you know, on the metal designs, you can hold some heat on it and actually kind of clean it off, you know, without having to pull it apart. So that would be pretty cool, but I don't know if it'd be cool enough to be able to do that to get away from the printed part. I don't know. It's kind of a...
Yeah, because I mean, the upside is something breaks on here, and I mean, you can order another one. They would have sold me that part for like $3.
Right.
I mean, and then I would have had to pay shipping currently out of check. Soon, I'll be able to buy it right from Printed Solid, though.
That's a heck of a thing, isn't it?
That was some big news, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, and you know, so he's talking about like, and I don't think that I know anything that I shouldn't say, so I'm just going to be really, I don't know. I'm just going to try to...
watches this stream anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to try to gloss over it as much as I can, but in that statement, he said that they were like putting in warehouse space or something. Didn't they say they were expanding or something like that? Dave?
Yeah, there was. Well, so now I don't know if it has anything to do with Prusa, but so David, well, I think Matt was even involved back then. They ended up moving into the space they're in now because the building that they were in was so bad. It was, I believe it was condemned, but they ended up tearing it down, like the owner of the building did.
Okay.
And so then they were building a new building, and it's on the same property. It's like right across the parking lot. And then they were supposed to move into that building. So I don't know if that's the building or not. Tom Lama said he started building last year. So again, I don't know if that's still the same plan. David used to come in here, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. Like he stopped coming to our streams.
Yeah.
Which this is probably why. He's probably like, finally, I get out of this stupid 3D printing thing.
Well, you know, and I don't know what his new capacity is, like, you know, what he's actually doing. I'm sure he's a busy guy all the time. But, you know, he used to harass me a lot more than he does now.
Yeah.
Like I'll send him messages and, you know, it'll be a while before he gets back. So I know he's got to be crazy busy.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, like, just weird statement to make. I hope that he made enough money off of this deal that he is set for a long, long time, if not forever. So, I mean, the thing is Prusa has, you know, Joseph himself has the resources that, I mean, he could have just come in and from the ground up built whatever he wanted to build. You know, like he could have put a distribution center in the US super easy. But I think that was really, really smart of him because Printed Solid is already very well established here.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see, though, how it goes forward with like the rep festivals, though. Will they still get a Prusa booth and a Printed Solid booth?
I don't
know. Sorry, I've been pretty much ignoring chat because I'm talking to Chris.
Sorry, chat.
I'm sure y'all understand. Chris Lane said, hopefully it's bigger this year than last year, talking about Orlando Maker Faire. Well, and that, Chris, is one of the reasons, one of the reasons that I kind of felt bad for not exhibiting last year. And I didn't for a couple reasons. One, because I wanted to just have time with my family seeing everything. Because when you exhibit, you don't get to see everything.
Yeah.
Unless you have an Uncle Ron. If you have an Uncle Ron, he'll watch your booth while you go goof off. It's pretty nice. But then I felt bad when we got there and found out that they were, and I forget the number, but it was excessive. It was into the hundreds of people less exhibiting than prior years.
Wow.
So, but it was so costly. It's, you know, it's free. It's free to exhibit. And then you get, you know, yourself and 3 team members in. So that's nice, but it's still very costly for me to get that monster down there. And I didn't have the truck. The truck wasn't running at the time. So I would have had to rent a trailer to put the crate in. And then I would have been into the thousands of dollars by the time I did it. So, and that's kind of why I tapped out. But I spent most of my time hanging out with the Andrews from 3D Gloop. That's a couple of good guys right there too.
Yeah, I haven't spent much time with the Andrews. I've talked to them, a little bit here and there, but I haven't spent a lot of time with them.
They're a lot of fun. You can do things like put police tape across their booth and put your sign over the top of their sign. I'm surprised that they even let me back into any of these conventions anymore. I seem to cause a great deal of problems every time.
They love it.
It's because I'm the fun king and I can do whatever I want to. That's what I always tell Zach. Like I'll hang a U-turn or slow roll through a stop sign, and he'll be like, "That was illegal." And I say, "I'm the fun king. I can do whatever I want." All right. Well, that was a quick fix on the Prusa. Let's hope it worked. I just got to plug everything back in.
Yeah, my wife will be coming to Murph with me.
Oh, that would be neat.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. She's been working on the channel with me for a while now. She does video editing and social media, and handles things like money.
My wife won't handle the money because we don't have any.
But she knows the score, about some things, but for the most part, this is not her thing, right?
Right.
I mean, she's the complete opposite of I am, and that's the only reason why we both survive. But she's like, well, I want to come because it's kind of my job, and I can come help and talk to people and stuff like that. I'm like, that sounds great. Let's do that. And then because I was so quick to agree, then she started to get nervous. I'm like, are you ready to be in a room full of nerds just like me for 2 days straight?
You have to tell her that her job is going to be every 15 minutes she has to walk out in front of the booth and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Chris Riley," and then you come out from behind the curtain.
She probably would. I should work something up like that. I told her, I was kidding around with her about what she has to do, and she knew I was kidding, but I said, well, you have to interview everyone in the place, and then I get to pick the questions. And I said, so we're going to set you up, and we're going to set you up with interview Joseph Prusa. And the first question is Joe your real name? And then I had this whole list of 3D printers. What is it? I had this whole list of things she had to ask him.
So what you're saying is you don't want her to ever go to another one with you?
Well, that was the next. We went right from that conversation to, and if Murph turns out, you can come with me to Earth. And she's like, whoa. She's like, I'll try one, but I'm not, committing to two. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that almost makes me wonder if you shouldn't let her first one be Earth. And I mean, nothing against Murph.
Right.
I love Murph. But if you're not in the family, Murph's tough. It's very cramped.
I thought about it, and I guess this year it's so, like last year they were in another building, and of course it wasn't near as crowded as it would have been usually. But I guess they're going to be in this new building again this year, so I'm hoping that helps because it's supposed to be a lot bigger. But I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I make it, I definitely will not be exhibiting. I will just be there as me. Shaking babies and kissing hands. But I want to. I mean, even if I have to take some time off of work, that's really what I need is time off of work.
I hear you there, man.
Oh.
No, it should be good. Be a good time. I'm really anxious to get back out and see some folks. I haven't seen anybody in years, it feels like.
Well, that's the same for me. I mean, the only place that we've been is Orlando Maker Faire.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any of the rep festivals. Well, I guess there was just Murph last year, right? They canceled her.
Yep.
But it's kind of, I like to meet the people that are in the chat every week. You know, like I like, because names are names, but when you get to finally meet somebody in person, it's different. And fair warning, if you don't know this, I'm really bad with names, so when I get there, I'll probably not remember your names. Um, but you know, like, so to tell people, okay, well, if you want to see me, come to Orlando Maker Faire. Not that there's not anything else to do in Orlando, but it's like, oh, I'm not going to go all the way to Orlando, you know,
Right.
like, so at least it's something that we all have in common, and it's a drive to get there. And I'll tell you, if you guys have never been to a rep festival and you're even remotely thinking about going, figure out how to make it happen. Because the worst feeling that you will ever have is the first day of Murph when people start posting pictures everywhere and you're like, oh, I should have gone.
So, speaking of Dave Randolph, last year at Murph, he was like, "You going to Murph?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna pass." And he's like, "Yeah, me too." And then like that Friday, he's like, "Hey, I'm headed to Murph." I'm like, "You?" Because if I would have known, I would have said, "Yeah, now I'm going." But no. Oh, and he's like, "Oh, there's still time." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, let me jump in the car and drive 9 hours."
Well, that's how Xander and I ended up at New York Maker Faire in 17, was because we had just gotten involved in all this 3D printing thing. We had just been accepted into the family. We were starting to get to know people. You know, we knew Joel, and we knew, you know, like, and we knew, you know, Pooch, and we knew all these people.
Right.
And like, it was like, I had mentioned to my wife, hey, I'd really like to go. And then I'm like, we really can't. I'm not going to go. And then more and more people are like, got my tickets for New York Maker Faire, and I'm like, and then I went to my wife and I'm like, I'm going to take Xander for his birthday. Oh, and I'm not sorry. So it was a good time.
Yeah, Chris said that he feels the same way about Rapid TCT. Those shows, like, because I've been to those shows, like not for 3D printing or engineering or making or anything like that, but you know, these giant shows for like, you know, IT and like AWS Insight or whatever. I've been to those shows a lot, and I always see that things like Rapid. It's like, well, that would be pretty cool, especially, I mean, if you were a business, right, and you went to this thing and you showed off what you had, but I don't know that it's not anywhere near the same thing, right, as a Rip Rap festival. So I really don't feel like I'm missing out on those too much, although there is a lot of cool people there. But those don't bother me, but the Rip Rap festivals, yes, I have a hard time missing one.
Yeah, well, trade shows and conventions are definitely two different things.
Yeah,
Because your trade show is absolutely people just trying to sell you stuff. And if you're the employee of a company, you don't care what they buy, you know, for the most part.
right.
So like, you're not there. You're there for the swag. It's all about coming home with a bag full of keychains and flashlights, and you know, it used to be T-shirts and mouse pads, but yeah. But when you go to a convention, those are your people, or I mean, they should be. Or why are you going to that convention? So
Yeah.
yeah. And then I didn't find out Orlando MegaCon was this weekend, and I didn't know about it until Friday or Saturday. Maybe it was Saturday morning. I found out about MegaCon. I would have gone to MegaCon. There was all kinds of like TV celebrities and stuff there. Ralph Macchio is there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like all of the people from Cobra Kai.
Nice.
I'm like, that's a group I'd like to have met, you know? I feel the same. Okay, no, but I'm just excited about the industrial stuff. What they can do now is amazing, and we'll see that in 5 to 10 years in low-cost printers. Well, that's it. I mean, every time that somebody comes up with something new on the industrial level, it's going to filter down to us eventually.
Yeah.
So, did you see? And I forget who posted it, but it is a FDM resin printer. It actually it extrudes the resin just like filament, and then it's got the infrared lights, and it's cooking the resin as it's going.
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, somebody posted it on the Twitters.
Huh.
Somebody in the hive mind will tell us who or what or whatever.
Yeah.
They're pretty good about spoon feeding me. Tom Mama said, but do they want to meet you, Glenn? That's the real question. No, not typically. Not anymore anyway. There was a day, my first Murph, I was bombarded the second I walked in the door. That doesn't happen anymore. Now everybody knows who I am and they're like, oh God, that guy. That's the guy that thinks he can do whatever he wants because he's the fun king.
E3.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm just really bad at firmware configurations. Maybe that's why this printer doesn't work so well.
You're bad at firmware configurations?
Maybe. I don't know anymore.
These kids and their newfangled stuff.
Probably has something to do with a cell phone.
Well, it's funny though, because so the FK1 sits more than it prints. But when I do go to print something on it, I have to look up everything on how to do it. Because it's the only machine I have that's Duet.
Yeah.
All my other machines run exactly the same way. That's the only one that's different. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love that Duet board.
Duet is pretty sweet. And unfortunately, I run around to, 7 or 8 different configurations. And I can only remember so much at one time.
Oh, I should pull that wire harness out of there. Quick check the chat, and then I can. Mike, never let the machines win. Another one of them Canadians said, I think Chuck showed it. That's very possible.
Don't you love things that you have to count the number of flashes? I feel like I'm working on a furnace.
Feels like you're working on an old Chrysler.
Yeah.
Just cycle the key on and off 3 times and then count how many times the check engine light flashes. Paul Cumber has joined us. Hello, Paul.
I haven't talked to Paul in a while.
Oh, he's usually here every week. He just got himself a new printer. I can't remember which one it is, and I'm sure he'll be kind enough to tell us again. He sent me a picture of a Batman that he had printed. Looked pretty good. I tell you, if you ever use cable chain for anything at all, make sure it's the kind that you can open up.
Absolutely, I've learned that lesson.
And don't 3D print your own. It sucks.
So I decided, for some reason, I decided that this weekend I was actually going to get something done around the house, because most of the time I just, sit down here and work on things. So I decided, it's nice out. I'm going to get some stuff done. And that's the worst mistake I ever made. But probably everyone in this chat is, a high percentage are going to be homeowners, and they can feel my pain. So get ready for a story. Get your drink and your snack, because I could go on about this for hours because of how infuriating it was. But so for years, I've been in this house for years and years, and forever out in my backyard, somebody at some time buried a railroad tie. So like it was part of the landscaping and it just got run over, just buried over.
Okay.
So in the corner of it, a couple of years ago, the corner of it started to peek out. I knew it was there, but I didn't want to do anything about it because, one, railroad ties are really hard to deal with. But so the corner would peek out, and now finally it was out enough that you could actually clip it with the mower. I'm like, I should probably do something about this. So that was my bright idea this morning. And So I go get. I'm hoping. Hey, like it's just like a fragment, you know, in the spot that it was in. It's just, you know, it's like a 3-foot piece, no big deal. And so I start on it with a shovel, right? And I'm digging and I'm trying because it's on a grade, so there's quite a bit of soil on the back of the back end of it. So I'm digging. I'm trying to find the end of this thing. And I tell you, I swear to you, that thing was somewhere in between 8 and 400 feet long. Because it never ended. I just kept going and going. Like an hour and a half later, I finally got it out of the ground. This thing weighs 4 million pounds.
Oh yeah, and then all the moisture that thing's been absorbing, and
yeah. So that was the worst mistake. I should have just cut the end of it off and threw some dirt on it and went about my business. But
light it on fire right where it's at.
Yeah. The things that the ideas that I come up with, I swear.
Well, and then you got to get rid of it.
Yeah. Now I have to find something to do it, and nobody will take them. So
no, because they're soaked in tar.
Yeah. Good old creosote.
You're not gonna come and say hi? Well, I'll say hi. Yeah, you gotta at least say hi to Chris.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
So, Chris, tell my wife the news about Murph.
My wife is coming to Murph this year, so she gets to feel the pain that you did all those years.
Tell her to bring some wine.
She'll probably need it.
It's good to see you, Chris.
Good to see you. I'll have to tell her she said that. She'll get a kick out of that. Bring wine.
Bring wine. Yeah.
I like it.
Make sure you get a booth with a curtain behind it that your wife can hide behind. I think that saved my wife's life at IRF.
Probably.
The year that we did Fun in the Country Basement.
That was an interesting year, wasn't it? That was quite the experience.
It was fun.
It was fun. You don't, and we haven't gone in so long now. You forget, like, man, some of this is like actual work. You know, you actually have to do something while you're there.
But oh yeah. Well, and then like Xander always gives me a hard time. You know, he's like, "Oh, you tell the same story and over and over and over again," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's my story, and that person hasn't heard it." You know, like, so what really makes me chuckle though is the year of Murph that I had the FK1 there, and the people who weren't there and they were watching the live stream, they were doing drinking games and stuff every time I
remember that
the heat bed.
And I cannot remember his last name. I believe his first name is Sean, but Dragon Monk, does that ring a bell?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, he was standing at the computer that was live streaming, and he would feed, like, I was talking to people at the table, and he would feed me what they were saying. they were like take a drink every time Glenn touches the bed. And they had all kinds of good ones. It was great.
Yeah, I can't touch the bed no more now, though, because it's hot now.
Yeah.
I could touch it back then because it didn't have a heater.
Good times. Well, and I can say one of my favorite things and least favorite things about doing those is because since we started going through them at the same time, it was always the bright idea to give away something.
Oh yeah.
And that's fun, but it's also a real pain in the ass.
Yeah. That scavenger hunt that we did.
Yeah.
People don't realize how much work that took.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get people involved. And in fact, I think there was only one person ever that, like, ahead of time, they were like, I want to be in on that. You know, and otherwise you're going around begging, hey, could you give these people stamps? And then remember at Murph, we had that guy that was giving out the Facebook thumbs up stamps.
He had his own stamp.
Yeah, people are coming to us and we're like, that's not our stamp. And they're like, well, we asked the guy if he had a stamp and he said, yeah. And it's like, that's not how this works.
I don't even remember who that guy was because I didn't get a chance to talk to him.
It was it had something to do with like a book publishing or something, because he said at the next show he wanted to be involved, but I never seen him again.
Yeah, because I wanted to talk to him because this guy has to be a real character to just somebody shows up with their card and he's like, "Do you
Yeah.
have a stamp?"
You have a
he just,
stamp, and he's like,
"Sure."
"Yep, sure do." It's a Facebook like stamp, but whatever.
I can tell you though, I would have done exactly the same thing as he did.
Well, I'm
I
sure
don't
he
know
was a
what this
bit
is for, but I'll
confused,
stamp it.
like, because that's how people were doing it. They weren't looking for the little logo. They were just going table to table, going, "Do you have a stamp?
Right.
You have a stamp?" Like,
At least force him to go to every table.
well, and that was kind of the plan, was to get people to not just walk around the show, but to actually interact with somebody that they may not have otherwise.
Right.
So it was successful that way. But and then of course, like, I bought the cheapest stamps I could possibly find on the Amazons, and so then we would have to go check with the tables, like, at least once an hour, like, "Is your stamp still working?"
And what we did the same thing at Earth, right? That was
Yep.
a scavenger hunt thing.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I remember somebody was like, "Well, I can't find the last stamp," and Martin had gone to lunch or something, and he had it. I'm like, "Well, you're gonna just stand right here and wait for
He
this
would
guy to
just-
get back."
He would leave his booth, and they
Yeah.
were like, "Well, you have to find this really huge Icelandic dude."
That's great.
Oh yeah. No, it was always a pain, but it was always a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we're still talking about it, so I guess it was fun for somebody anyway, right?
Well, and I'm sure we made some very happy people,
Yeah.
I,
Forced-
I feel bad because I'm bad with names and I can't remember the kid's name, but I know the kid that won the printer was absolutely thrilled.
Yeah. One of the best memories for that whole thing is, like, I was trying to talk to people, and you got a constant, people just keep walking through if you've never been to one of these things. So you see people and you just keep talking and talking and talking. And I'm trying to build the printer that we're giving away, and I'm not really doing that great a job. So Bennett and Thomas came and they finished it up for me.
Yeah, Thomas kind of fell off the face of the earth. I reach out to him once in a while and make sure that he's still alive.
Yeah.
But like, he was all gung ho for a long time, and then he just kind of faded away. But the
Yeah, I
last
haven't
time I
heard from
reached
him in
out
a
to him,
long
he was
time.
still doing good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I was going to say things change so fast, but it's been a long time.
It has been.
Now that I think about it.
As crazy as that is, it has been a long time. I was trying to do the math when I started, like when I got into all of this, and I want to say it was like 6 years ago. I know that Xander was just turning 10. Well, in fact, yeah, it would have been 17, because that's when I took Xander to New York for his birthday, and he had turned 10, and he'll be 16 this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and Zach is 11 now, but again, like, I waited a little longer with him because of his ADD. That kid will say some of the most outrageous stuff, and then, like, he'll argue stupid stuff with you. I don't even know example wise, because, like, now I just tune him out, but
Now you're used to it, right?
I'm like, "Oh my gosh, kid, just shut up, will you?" Yeah, I don't know. We were watching TV last night, the wife and I were, and he comes into the room just out of the blue, and I don't remember what he said, but he just like really outrageous stuff. Like, he said to me the other day, "If you get a bigger bed, you have more bedroom, but you have less bedroom."
Well, He's not wrong.
But you know, he
I love
just
it.
like this stuff just comes like from nowhere, and it's like what?
That's awesome.
So yeah, the Xander's Thing Thursdays should be a lot of fun with him. But I want to teach him. I'm going to teach him how to do his own 3D printing because I think that he will do it more than Xander ever did.
Yeah.
Xander felt like it was a chore right to begin with. He wanted the fame. He didn't want to work for it.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
Yeah, I just want the garage channel to take off so I can do that full time.
Well, I can tell you the videos look really good. They're very impressive.
Well, and I'm hoping that I can keep up with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean definitely set the bar high. I don't have his talent, which I mean, talent can always be obtained, but I don't have his vision either. Like he sees things videography wise that I don't.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I paid attention. I learned a lot from him in the videos that we shot. So the newest one, which I just started filming the other day, it's still in progress, waiting on parts, like pretty much everything. I mean, I pulled that car into the garage 3 different times to get all of the angles, and you know, and I learned that from him. So
Yeah. That's one of those things too. I mean, you're right. I mean, it takes an eye to do that stuff. I mean, like to do it well, right? And it's for me, it's really hard to learn. I just don't get it. I'm like, no, it looks fine, and you know, and like, no, you could do this and make it look. I'm like, but it looks fine now. You know, I don't know the difference. You know.
yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's tough. Like he sees it ahead of time. Like again, he'll tell me to do things more than one time. And there was even like in the very first video, the Nissan Maxima video,
Mm-hmm.
when I went to put the cover on the engine, he filmed me putting the cover on the engine. He goes, "All right, now take it off and you know, do it like this." And then he goes, "Okay, I'm going to put the camera down on the ground, set the cover down over the engine, and lift it up off of the camera." And I'm like, "What?" Well, it didn't dawn on me what he was doing. Like he literally filmed me picking it up and then putting it onto the engine. As where when I film here in the studio, like I filmed everything in the order that it was taking place in which it was going to go into the video.
Right.
But you don't really have to do that. Tom Lama asked, "Is Sean gone or just working?" Sad news. He was carried away by a wave. No. He so Sean's job currently is in Tampa, and if you guys aren't familiar with Florida, Tampa is about 2.5 hours from here. And the drive back and forth was killing him. And then of course, you know, with fuel prices going up the way it was, it just wasn't working out. So he ended up finding a place to live in Tampa and moved out of here. Then he was actually coming up. Oh, there's David Randolph now. Speaking of the devil.
Hey.
Sean was coming up like, you know, every weekend and then every other weekend and then not at all. It's too hard of a drive back and forth. So I've taken on the responsibility of editing. I still have Sean there as a resource, and I'm sure there's going to be projects that we work on in the future together. But yes, so you'll notice that the videos are going to be a little bit different flavored because I'm not Sean, but I am trying to impersonate him. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, David, you'll have to go back now and watch the beginning of the stream because we talked about you for like 40 minutes. All bad stuff too.
I'm gonna say not a good thing was said.
You're like, oh, that David Randolph guy.
He doesn't give me near enough free stuff.
You know, it's funny because David's like, he's one of the people that like I try to never ask him for free stuff. I mean, I think he gave us free stuff every time we ever asked, but I don't know. I always felt bad asking Dave for free stuff.
I have a really
David is
bad
out
habit.
Ferrari shopping.
I have a real bad habit of sending Dave things like, hey, I need something that kind of looks like this, and I need it cut like this, and I need 12 of them, and sending an invoice, I'll pay for it, but I really need it to be like this. And
it's got to be exactly like this one.
Yeah, and then it just shows up and he doesn't charge me, and I always feel bad about that until the next time I need something, and then I ask him all over again.
Well, I do have a very large piece of custom cut PEI because of David. So,
yeah. Well, speaking of that, I got a very large sheet of PEI the other day, and wow, it's expensive.
no doubt.
The sheet I got was like, I want to say it was like 755 by 355, and I think I ended up paying like $165.
Well, I know at the time that they sent me this one, it was about $150 worth.
Yeah, it has gone up a lot.
Like everything else.
Yeah, well,
they had the FK1 listed on the website for a while. When you go in to order custom PEI sheets, you could order it for the FK1, but
oh, nice.
I dragged my feet and didn't get the plans released fast enough. It's Mr. Prusa Solid.
Prusa Solid. I like it.
So, Mr. Riley, I need connectors for the FK1 that aren't these. I think these are JST connectors. Let's see if I can. You see that?
Ooh, yeah.
I'd like connectors that are, I guess, technically smaller. There's just so many wires on this thing that I end up with these huge clumps of connectors. And if I could come up with a better quality connector.
Yeah. That's always kind of true. I mean, it seems like I always go down that path, right? I'll like, okay, I'm tired of this. I'm going to switch to this. And most of the time, it doesn't end up being better. Now you just have to support multiple types. So I really don't, I don't know what to tell you about that. I think we should go back to the old like D9, D25, 232 style connectors.
Well, I considered that when I built this thing, but I mean, they're so massive, and then that's adding, that much more weight to the moving parts.
Right. I have a printer that they did it with. They just use multiples on a Cat5 cable, and it works, but it's really not enough.
Well, and Cat5 cable isn't very flexible. David Randolph throwing down $49.99 in US dollarinos. I haven't been around a while, so I got to re-up my sponsorship. I feel bad. I didn't put Sergio's banner up earlier either. Gosh, and I didn't do it last time. Sergio, next stream is all yours, man.
You get a banner if you sponsor now? That's pretty awesome.
So it started kind of as a joke. And now, David, do I need to make a David Randolph banner now? Because the banner I have for you is printed solid. So I don't even know how this started. Like one day somebody threw down some money, so I made a banner, put it at the bottom of the screen. I have like 50 of these in StreamYard now because and then it started where if you outbid, if you donated more than the guy before you, then your banner overrode his. But sometimes I get into my projects or whatever, and then I forget to put the banners up. And Sergio kicked me $20 last week too, and I forgot to put the banner up. So I've been slacking. So I might have to like make a special banner just for Sergio. I'll put Sergio's name on the countdown timer at the beginning of the stream. All right, now I can get my wire wrap off of here. This stuff's real fun to deal with too, this PET wrap. It's like the old Chinese finger traps.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. So I tried to put a piece of, I'm assuming that's PETG, in there as a reinforcement, like Prusa does on the extruder, and it didn't bode well. It just poured it out of there in like 50 pieces.
Yeah. I still have a roll of 3mm nylon that's all I use it for. I've never printed with it once. I only use it for that.
Yeah, I probably have some nylon around here, but again, I mean, I was trying to use the factory wiring harness, and this wire is so small, and so I'm just going to rebuild it now out of fatter silicone wire and hope it all fits in the cable chain. Sergio said, "Look, Glenn, the garage door fun just got a bump." Yeah, that door's getting so bad too. It's got massive holes in it, and it's so hard to open and close. Of course, as hot as it is, I don't know. I was out there working yesterday, and I had 3 different fans on, and all it was doing was blowing hot air on me. So I started to look back into the porta-cools, the swamp coolers, but the general consensus is if you live in a high humidity area, they don't do any good. In Florida, it's definitely high humidity.
Yeah.
Tom Lama said using the springy part from the grabbers, still the best wire support ever. Are you talking about the kind where you push the thing on the back and the little claws come out?
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, I played with using tape measure tape as the backbone for the wiring harnesses. Because that works pretty good, but Brian said ductless mini split. Once the walls are up in the garage, then maybe. But right now, that would be still cooling roughly 4,000 square feet at 15 feet tall. Sergio right now is doing the math in his head. Well, you're going to need a 50,000 ton unit.
Sergio is one of my favorite people. Like I send him questions, and it's just like bang, it's there. He's got it. You can tell he's been doing it for so long. I was asking him about condensation pumps the other day, and he was like, "No, you need to do this." And then I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I should do that." We've said it a million times, but I never get tired of saying it. That's been the best part about this whole thing. And you and I we came up about exactly the same time. James too, and
Yep.
it's all the people, it's all the people you get to talk to and then you meet. It's really cool what has grown.
Yeah, the community absolutely makes the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been like a family, and not to say that there's not drama involved and there's not some people that you want to kick out of the family, but that's just like the real family.
Exactly.
I forget, is Scott McClellan in here today? He's been in recently, but I can't remember if he was in here today. Scott, if you're watching, I just wanted you to know that I still appreciate you, because the wire I'm using today is the wire that you sponsored the FK1 with way back in the beginning.
He is here.
Look at that. I conjured him. Now I got to go see what Brian typed and then redacted. So I was telling everybody last week that when they type in YouTube and then they delete their message, it still shows in StreamYard. So I can still see what they what they wrote. All right, brown, red, orange, black, white. I don't know if I have all those colors.
I feel like I'm getting absolutely nothing done here.
That's the point of these streams.
Yeah.
To get absolutely nothing done. You remember these streams all started so that we could get just dumb little projects done. And then it got more to the point where I was chatting with the people more than doing projects.
Yeah.
That's why I show up, is to chat with the people.
I was talking with somebody yesterday, and I got to talking about doing weekly streams and just, like how it turns out after years and years, right? Because we were talking about doing something like that, which honestly I still have no interest in. Finding the Country Basement was a good time, but it's like for me the biggest problem is the fluidity, let's call it, of this table. I have to have everything, like I'm working on a video for whatever reason, and then I have to try to get all of that off somewhere else to do this stream on a Sunday. That was always really challenging. I really hated to stop doing it. Altogether, it did kind of suck, but that was the only way I was able to stay sane.
Yeah, whatever. Tell the truth. You were tired of us riding your coattails.
Well, the worst part, I think, was like after I said, I'm tired of this. I talked to Walter, and he's like, oh yeah, I don't want to do it either. I'm like, okay.
Well, I think we were all relatively burned out. Like it's hard, mainly on a weekend day. Like,
yeah,
you work all week and then you're giving up a half of a Sunday. I mean, it's not really a half a Sunday, but like, I go to church in the morning and then I do the stream in the afternoon. So my Sundays are pretty much done for. But I don't know. I had such a good time and we had built such a good following that I didn't really want to give that up.
Yeah, that I felt the same way.
And that's the reason that I kept on. And then, I was looking for a new co-host because I can't just talk to myself. I mean, I do. I talk to myself a lot, but it's weird when you do it on a live stream. But it's really the only reason I started filming in the garage was so I had a reason to talk to myself, because I do it anyway. And then people are like, "You talking to yourself?" And I'm like, "Oh, camera." But but and then I'm like, I need a new co-host, and there was James, and I had been trying to do a live stream with James for a long time, but he was never available. So it just kind of worked out. And then because of his job, that's when we pushed it to 4:30 instead of 4, which I think works out a little bit better. Maybe not so much for those across the pond, but for me anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you guys are still doing it.
Yes, and I'm going to say it again. You are welcome anytime. Like, even if you don't want to stay for the whole 2 hours, if you want to just pop in for a little bit, you just let me know. I'll send you the link anytime.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I
that
do
goes out to Walter
more
too, as long as he can control his language. I say that. So for those who don't know Walter, like on a personal level, he's very rough around the edges. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah,
phenomenal human being.
Yes.
But wasn't really raised well to be on the YouTubes. So we did those streams. How long did we do FKB? It was a long time.
I'd say it was like a year and a half or something.
It was a long time, and never a problem. I stream with James. James drops the F-bomb on my channel. Leave it to the Canadian. And then he didn't even do it and then like just let it roll. He was like, like I'm like, oh. And it's not that I haven't said things that are questionable, but it is funny because everybody's waiting for the garage video the day I start throwing tools and saying the swears. But it just doesn't happen anymore. Like I work at my own pace. When I get frustrated, I stop working on stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't throw my tools; they're expensive.
Well, yeah, that's no kidding.
I said I'll have to get a set of Harbor Freight wrenches, and just keep them as throw wrenches.
Throw wrenches, I like it.
Get mad, reach in a bucket, take out a throw wrench.
Yeah, I have been known to fly off the handle at times during projects. I couldn't tell you the last time I did though. It's probably been a while.
Yeah.
My dad was the king of that when I was a child.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
I as a child, my father would get overworked and throw stuff and swear and yell at me, stupid kid, hold the flashlight straight. And like as a kid, like that scared the hell out of me. I would cower. And then I don't even know. I think I was probably 12 or 13. And we were doing something and something didn't go right. And my dad started flying off the handle. And it was like all of a sudden I realized that I didn't have to put up with that.
Yeah.
And I walked away. Like I just quit working with him and walked away and he was mad. And then later in life, my dad always had the plumber's smile going on anytime we worked on anything. And we were re-siding my sister's house with lap siding. And my brother-in-law was there and we're doing, and something wasn't going right. And my dad was, griping and complaining about stuff. And my brother-in-law didn't know how to handle it. And so my dad is crouched down and he's nailing something in or whatever. And I walk up with a handful of 16 penny nails and I drop them right down the butt crack. My dad came unglued and my brother-in-law freaked out. And I fell to the ground. I was laughing so hard. And it just made my dad even more pissed, which was that much funnier. So yeah, got him with spackle one time too. Oh no, it was drywall mud. I had a putty knife full of drywall mud, and I went up behind him and just spackled his.
Yeah.
It's not that he was doing it like he wasn't coming at me. It's just the way he always was.
Yeah.
And it was like one day it was like I woke up and I'm like, I don't have to put up with this.
Yeah, I haven't worked alongside my dad in many years now.
Well, me either, because he passed away in 2017. But
yeah, but I can only imagine it's probably still exactly like it was when I was a kid.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it hasn't changed.
I remember he had a tendency to throw things, and I remember walking down the basement steps one time, and I just saw a hammer come flying across the threshold, and I just turned around and walked right back up the stairs. Yep. Nope, not even going down.
My work day's done already.
Yep. Gonna avoid that one. This was like, I was in my 30s, so it was 5 or 6 years ago. He's an electrician by trade, and he was doing a box swap for one of my buddies, and I just happened to be around, and I went over there to see how he was doing. And I had found out that like in the trades that you call the electrician Sparky, and I'd never heard that before. So I decided that was the time for me to try it out on my old man. And boy, let me tell you what, he didn't enjoy that at all. I thought it was funny, but obviously he did not. He'd heard that a few times.
Oh, oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I had picked up that horrible habit from my father because, I mean, I grew up around that, so I thought that was the way you were supposed to do things in life.
Yeah.
And like I had gotten angry. I was probably, I was driving, so I'd have been 16. I got mad, was punching a piece of wood, broke these two bones in my hand, which was pretty dumb. And then I kicked a car tire one time so hard I broke my foot.
Wow.
And I think that was about the time that I realized that enough was enough, that I wasn't doing that anymore. So, and the girl that I was dating didn't particularly care for that either. She would pretty much cower when I'd get mad at stuff, and then I thought, okay, yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I've been fortunate that I haven't injured myself, so I'm a lot mellower now than I was as a young man. That's for sure.
I injure myself constantly, not for that reason, but
oh man, I'm forever. I'm hurting myself. I did one not too long ago. It actually had me a bit worried. Which it's usually like whatever. But this one I got it really good. I was sitting over here when I was redoing the basement. I was sitting over here on the ground wiring an outlet, and I had just got done shooting a bunch of 5/8 holes in the rafter to run the wire through with a paddle bit and I set the drill down on the ground. Well, I wasn't paying attention, so I sat down to do that outlet, and the bit went through the back of my arm.
Yeah,
it went right in, and I couldn't see it, but there was blood all over the floor. I'm like, oh no, I finally ruptured something that was important.
half-inch drill bit.
Man.
I did that just a couple months ago.
Oh,
I was drilling through a PVC cap, and it bound up and twisted.
oh,
And, like just quick. Still hurts. Whew. Yep.
yeah.
So what did I do? I always go in. Anytime I get a bad cut, I always go in and I say to my wife, listen, everything's okay, but I'm going to need your help for a second. And then she's like, what did you do? So I went in and I'm holding my hand like this so that the blood will pool in the palm of my hand. And I'm like, everything's okay. And then she wanted to pour peroxide in there. And I'm like, no, it was deep, like bone deep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. So I put gauze on there and wrapped it with medical tape and went back to work.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happens here too. So like the door to come down to the basement is in the kitchen, and there's a wall between the kitchen and the living room, and my wife is sitting on the couch, and I get through the garage door, and I've got one hand collecting blood, and then my arm like this, trying to keep it off the floor. I'm like, hey, could you come help me for a second?
I got something really cool I want to show you.
Yeah. And of course, she comes around the corner, and it's a horror show. But yeah, good stuff. That's the last time though that I can remember that I've been actually concerned about an injury. Most of the time, it's pretty minor.
Well, mainly when it's in a spot that you can't see it.
Yeah, I had no idea how bad it was.
Yeah, so then it's hard to monitor it for infection and whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I was tempted to go to the hospital. I was tempted. I didn't, but I was tempted.
Yeah, I've only been so concerned I had to go to the hospital one time. And I've probably told this story to the YouTube fans a million times, but that's when I dropped the car on my hand, and that was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, I could see that doing it.
Yeah, I pulled it out of there. It was flat as a pancake. That was really interesting, but that's the only time I've ever been to the hospital, so I'm doing pretty good so far.
No, I've had my fair share of stitches and whatever. But, so my next door neighbor, who's a really good friend of mine, his wife's a nurse. And he had come over a little while after it happened. In fact, I was on my way back out of the house and I had this, ghetto Band-Aid all over my hand.
Mhm.
And he's like, what happened? So I told him, and he's like, well, when the wife gets home, you want me to have her look at it? And I said, well, we can. I don't know what she's going to do about it. And he's like,
Right.
well, maybe you need stitches. And I'm like, there's nothing there to stitch. It's mincemeat. Sorry to anybody that's got a weak stomach. Oh, Mike says print some wrenches. Well, that might be a good idea. I might do that. Maybe I'll print I'll get the FK1 back up and running, and I'll print like one really big one out of like PET so that I can really like make it noticeable when I print them in TPU or NinjaFlex. And Glenn wondered why he wasn't his dad's favorite. I don't know if I was my dad's favorite or not. I think I was towards the end, but unfortunately the cancer got him. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, cancer just plain old sucks.
Yeah, it does. Tom Lemon said he's got to go make dinner for his mom. I think that's supposed to be dinner. Question first, Glenn. Did Old Oak like Chris's and Sean's cedar mahogany? Tom, you surprised me, man. You just, whatever you want to do it out of, I will be appreciative of it. I didn't know you got a Tom sign. Did you get a Tom sign?
I got a clock.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea that he was working on that. In fact, even though it's a pain, I'm going to take it off here and show everyone.
Well, I only know because he asked me for the logo in Vector. Wow, that is fantastic.
Very nice, huh?
That is awesome. Yeah, you remember that picture that Zach drew of your logo and then I had you sign it?
Yeah.
He still has that hanging over his desk.
That's awesome. I was thinking about this the other day. We were talking about going to Murph. I was thinking about that. Like all the stuff that I've signed, which I don't think I'm worthy of signing anything, honestly. But if you really want me to sign it, sure, why not? But there was one guy, and I had never met him before, and I don't think I've seen him since. But he created like a 3D printed booklet, and everybody that he wanted to sign had their own page.
Wow.
And he come up to me with this booklet, and he's like, sign right here. And I'm like, okay. And I signed it, but he was collecting them all in this book. I always remember that. I think about that, and I'm like, I wonder what happened to that guy. I wonder who it was.
I think I remember that because I think he had Xander sign it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I signed it. Nobody wants my autograph. I'm just that guy. I don't know. I think that, I mean, you say that, like you're not worthy of signing things, but YouTube's a big thing. I mean, yes, anybody can have a YouTube channel, but you know darn well not everybody can just make it on YouTube.
Right.
And it does create a weirdness, I guess. And I can completely understand. I don't get starstruck. So like at the point that I get to meet a YouTuber, I'm not like, oh my God, it's that guy. Like I'm more worried about like not coming across as a complete freak. Like I want to meet the people that I watch on YouTube, but I don't want to seem like I'm a super fan. I'm just like a normal dude and I want to meet you too, like, so I don't know. It's weird, but
I still feel like that I don't grasp the whole thing well. The way I watch YouTube, right? And I've tried to explain this a million times, and I'm probably crazy, but the way I watch YouTube, it's like something's broke. I don't really watch it for entertainment so much. I try to, but it never seems like I have time to do it. So I just consume the content, get the information I need, and then I'll probably never watch your video ever again.
That is exactly what my wife says.
Yeah. So I don't know why. I don't know how people, because of that thought in my head, I'm not sure why people watch my videos. You know, I still don't comprehend it well. So I don't expect people to know who I am. You know, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I've never really worked it out mentally before.
Well, see, there's two true flavors of content. There's the how-to content, where you go and you watch specifically to see how something's done. And then there's like the content that I'm making for the garage channel. I'm fighting very hard to not make it how to.
Yeah.
I just want it to be, this is what I'm doing, you know, and I dip once in a while and I'm like, all right, so, you know, to put this together or whatever, I'm using this and this is how I do it, whatever. But it's not a how-to video because I don't want that. But, and that's the kind of stuff that I watch daily in the automotive. You know, I watch people building engines and fabricating stuff because I can pick up tips and tricks through that. I see the way they do it. Like I don't need to watch a video. This is how you weld. I know how to weld. I want to see how are you making that bracket? How are you mounting that winch? How are you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I watch it for the entertainment factor. And I'll tell you, if you've never watched Derek from Vice Grip Garage, you're really missing out because that guy's super entertaining. Chuck recently, I guess, discovered Vice Grip Garage, and he's like, you know, I've been struggling with 10 and 15-minute videos, and this guy does hour-and-a-half videos. And it's like, yeah, and people tune in to watch it too.
Yeah. Well, I don't watch a lot of YouTube just because I guess I don't. But when what is he, One Day Builds with Adam Savage or whatever, he started doing it through COVID.
Yep.
He was just doing it out of his own workshop. I cannot get enough of those. And it's just because you're watching somebody that has built so many different things and their technique of doing it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That guy's got like just massive amounts of skills.
Yeah. And so like and everything's just a little bit different, right? Like he has this wide spectrum of the things that he's doing. And I've learned so many little things here and there, just simple things like watching him use Irwin quick clamps and the stuff that he does with them, just little odds and ends like that. I find that stuff fascinating.
Yeah, he's one I'd be a little bit starstruck.
I'm not quite sure what I'd say to Adam Savage.
Be like, Mr. Savage. Remember that time that you blew up the concrete truck? That was awesome.
Yeah. Yep. That's probably all I'd have. Or I'd blurt out, you know, is Jamie Hyman really a jerk in real life? You know? Something like that.
It's funny, he doesn't really talk about Jamie. When he does, he's always like, "Oh, Jamie's a good guy," and but you know that they had.
Well, that's what made it entertaining.
Heat issues, yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard. You figure Adam used to work for Jamie, then all of a sudden they worked together.
Yeah.
You know, that's a little weird. I'd say hi. Can you sign my heat bed? Yeah, I like watching his videos where he's talking about his shop organization. Now, his method of organization would never work for me. But he also has way more tools than I do, which is saying a lot because I have a lot of tools.
Yeah.
But I mean, like he'll organize, he'll be like, okay, well, I keep all of these clamps over here by this thing. And it's like, yeah, but what if you need them over there by that thing? And then I keep my other clamps over by that thing. And it's like, oh, you just have two sets of clamps. If anybody's watching me right now for how to, don't do it the way I'm doing it. I'm stripping wire with flush cutters, which is a huge no-no.
Sergio showed me how to diagnose a bad capacitor on an air conditioner.
Yeah?
He taught me how to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad if you have the right multimeter.
Yeah.
Definitely can't do it with the cheapie from Harbor Freight. At least I don't know of a way to do it with a cheap Harbor Freight one. That's it's one of the most common problems I've ever run into on air conditioning.
Well, yeah, honestly, if it would have been anything else, I would have known, it would have probably been really hard to fix. Somebody left a comment the other day, like, oh, because I got all kinds of, I don't know if you've seen the shaky table that I built for the 3D printers.
Absolutely, I commented on it.
Okay. Somebody put in there a Adam Savage quote, and I don't know if it was his originally or not, but the difference between science and messing around is writing it down. That's exactly how I feel.
I do not know if that made contact. I think I might cut that off and do it again. I think I crimped onto the insulation and not the bear. When in doubt, throw it out.
Just have to do it over again later anyway.
That's right. After it's all put back in the printer.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll run a multimeter over it before I do that, but I didn't have mine in here. That's one thing that I've run into now that the studio is here. And if you didn't get to see it last week, which I'm sure you didn't, you should watch at least that part of last week's stream where I took everybody on a tour of the garage. They got to see the inner workings, but well, that wasn't good.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I'd like to see it.
But the problem that I've run into is I had a set of tools for upstairs, and I have tools in the garage. And once in a while, there was something that I had to go grab out of the garage or vice versa. Well, I don't want to not have those tools upstairs, even though I don't do 3D printing. That's pretty much where I do every other project. And here, I don't necessarily have the same tools. Plus, I don't want to be taking my garage tools and bringing them in here. So it's like, now do I need a third set of tools? I mean, I'm okay with that, but
yeah. There's really not. I don't have a whole lot of crossover. Like basic stuff. Of course, you have like a million Phillips head screwdrivers and all that kind of stuff.
right, the easy stuff.
I keep 2 sets of 1/4-inch sockets and there things like that, but not a whole lot of crossover.
Yeah, it's I don't know. There's just like right now. I mean, I could use my multi-tester, and I have one in the garage, a good one. And then I have my one upstairs, which was just kind of a more hobby level one. But I don't have one in here at all. And I could go out to the garage and get it's I don't know 80 feet that way, but
Yeah.
but when you're in the middle of a stream, do you really want to stop to go grab tools?
Yeah.
Brian said, I need me a fluke. We all do. I can't afford that kind of stuff.
I can't multimeter anyway. I got a handful of things that are fluke, but I've never been able to reach a multimeter.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. So I don't even know if I should say this. It was funny. I was doing the tour last week and I'm like, yeah, here's all my power tools. Now listen, don't come rob me because now you know where my power tools are. But like, so when I was building the house and it came time to do the electrical, I went out and bought all Klein tools. I got a Klein screwdriver set. I got lineman's pliers. I bought all Klein. I keep them in their own tool tote, and they are only ever used for electrical work. I don't ever grab a Klein screwdriver when my hands are all greasy. Like, those are specifically, and the wire strippers. I'll use the wire strippers for other stuff and whatever. But otherwise, nope. I don't cross those tools over. Those are my babies for doing electrical. Well, when I started the garage channel, I also started a garage Twitter, and I followed Klein Tools. Their social media person is just absolutely amazing. So I posted that tweet a couple of weeks back, and I had said, you know, like it was a picture, and then it said, "Fun King 3D, whisper it back," and like everybody was like replying, "It, like you guys are funny. You're not. You're a bunch of unoriginal SOBs." But so Klein, I stole that from Klein Tools because they had made a post with that, and it said, you know, Klein Tools, say it back, and so it had been online for like 9 hours and nobody had replied to it at the point I seen it. So I replied to it, Klein Tools. So a few hours later, they replied back, Klein Tools. So I seen it a few hours later. I replied, Klein Tools. This went on for like 3 days. And I said, like, I posted Klein Tools and I said, I can go on forever. And it did. It went on for days, only between myself and Klein Tools. Like nobody else got involved. It was actually pretty funny. So, but yeah, they got a good social media person. Now I got to remember how to put these together. I got to get there's another tool. So Uncle Ron sent me a pair of these like super geeky, like super specs. You can change out the lenses depending on the magnification. They got a light built into them.
Mm-hmm.
They're bright white. Like the actual glasses are bright white, but he did it because I was always double glass, you know, putting the double glasses on. So he sent those to me. Well, now I got to get a set of those for in here because I'm not giving them up from upstairs. But my close vision is absolute garbage.
Paul wants to know if a Creality board will work in VoxLab 3D printer. I don't know.
A Creality board barely works in a Creality.
Yeah, depending on which one it is. Probably be best to just grab something else.
Isn't the VoxLab, isn't that the printer that you just got, Paul? Yeah, I don't think I'd be using Creality's parts on anything. I'm actually not real excited about Creality and their cloud service as of late.
Yeah.
And everybody's stuff getting ripped off. And people will say, oh, well, that didn't have anything to do with Creality. I don't buy that.
It's kind of a bad scene.
Yeah, because they're not doing anything about it. Oh, that one didn't make it. Dang it. And it was right after I pushed the pin in there, too. Tom Lama said, yeah, kind of boycotting it because of it. Yeah, I don't know. It feels dirty. Like they want the attention. They want the people, you know, the traffic on their model site. So they're just not going to do anything about the dirty people.
Honestly, I mean, I've had very little interaction with Creality one-on-one over the years. I have talked to them before, and you know, we've had some discussions about some of their machines. Let's just say that, but not as much as I have other companies. I could say that. But honestly, even before all this started happening, I was kind of like, I really don't see a need to continue with Creality. I mean, you know, they do what they do, and I've seen it. You know, I've showed it. Now I'm kind of done. You know.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, all the stuff with them ripping off the Marlin firmware, and
yeah,
you know, it just, I don't know. We don't need that kind of negativity in the community.
No, and it's just it's not like they're they're bringing out the latest and greatest stuff here. I mean,
they're bringing out the latest and greatest ripoffs of everybody else's stuff.
Yeah, so I don't really feel like it's it's not a bad breakup. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But I mean, like, and I'm not really a designer. Like, I've designed things, I've uploaded things to Thingiverse, and if somebody ripped it off, it would be an honor to me because my stuff's not that good. But then you got people like, Fotis and stuff out there that are making just amazing models,
Right.
Um, and
Not
then
cool.
no, it's
I'll tell you what, the completely changing gears on you. I've used Dewalt stuff for a long time, but
me too.
I won this thing at work or something. I don't remember what it was. They gave me here's a catalog, pick something you want. It was kind of one of these deals. And of course there wasn't anything in there. But they had this 12-volt Dewalt drill, and I've always used 20-volt stuff, and I was like, you know what, fine, they don't have anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. And it is the handiest little drill that I mean, it's easy to use, it's lightweight, just for doing little projects. It's great.
Doesn't fatigue your hands.
Yeah. So, but I thought, it probably won't be able to do much, but I've really gotten along with it really well. I like it.
Yeah, Sean's Dewalt is the 12-volt, and all my stuff is the 20-volt. So I was always picking on him about his tiny little drill. But I, of course, am a huge Dewalt fan because, they're black and yellow. No, in fairness, I used Dewalt long before Fun King came about.
Let's see. Ender 3 version 1,000,005.
The Ender 3 Pro.
Yeah.
No, and like Chuck uses the Ender printers and does fantastic work with them and stuff. It's just unfortunate that that company is what they are,
Yeah.
But they're affordable. People are going to keep buying them. And that's,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's okay too, because think about the people who are getting involved in 3D printing that wouldn't be able to otherwise.
Yeah, and I get it, and some people want to say, well, stop using them or stop promoting this kind of printer or something like that. And Creality has been very popular for a long time, and I understand that take, but also just like what you said, it's going to be really hard if you wanted to get into 3D printing. You've got an Ender 3 out there that's still around. I don't even know what they are right now. At one time they were $170. How can you not? I mean, they're good enough. They're not great. You could get a bad one, whatever, but they're good enough to get you started.
Yep.
So it's really hard not to say, well, to run them down when people just want to get into the hobby. I just want to see them start 3D printing. That's all I want to see. So yeah, it's a tough situation.
Yeah, I was, God, I don't even know how the conversation started. Xander and I were eating at Denny's the other day, and somehow something was said with the cashier, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I've wanted to get into 3D printing," and I said, "Well, it's more affordable than ever now. Like it's come a long way." And I was giving her like ideas, and that's the printer I told her to go look at.
Yeah,
because it's affordable.
Ender 3 Pro from Newegg about 6 months ago. This is Adam in 3D for $119. There you go. That's going to be pretty hard to beat.
Yeah. And mainly with the results you can get out of it.
Yeah.
I am not doing very good with this wiring harness today. I think that I need my better glasses. The good news is It's 6:20, which means the stream's about over, and I can just leave all this crap here and work on it next week.
There you go.
Because I don't use this. I don't use this space for anything else. Now, in fairness, I did yesterday, and I'm going to leave it as a surprise what it is. But I came in here to do something, came up with a need, immediately came up with a solution, and I thought, man, everybody else needs to know about this.
Nice.
So I filmed it. I'm hoping to be able to make a short out of it. I did one short on the Garage channel, and it got like over 2,000 views. I know that means nothing for you, Mr. Riley.
No, I haven't done very well with shorts, but honestly, to be in all fairness, the only shorts I put out, are me printing benchies. So, I mean, it's not like I'm expecting much.
No, I did a short on the Garage channel, just doing a headlight polishing on Xander's car with the Cerakote kit, and holy crap, what a night and day difference that kit made on the headlights. And so the way I recorded it, I thought, well, I can't really release a video on this because I parked the camera in one spot. And so I edited it out where every time I walked out of frame, I cut it. And then right before I walked back into frame, I brought it back in. And it turned out to be, I think it fell like right at 59 seconds or something. Threw some music behind it, and it just exploded. So
yeah, it still surprises me what people watch and what people don't watch.
Yeah, exactly. You want your videos to do well, you got to get somebody to kick you in the nuts occasionally. I've been trying to get Xander to watch Idiocracy.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you got to watch that movie. And he's like, I probably won't watch it because you're telling me to watch it. And I'm like, listen, that movie was made originally as a comedy and it's turned into a documentary. So you need to watch that movie. It's just so scary. It's so scary.
You have to watch it for survival purposes now.
That's right. I think everything in that movie has come true so far, except for the recliner with the toilet built in. And that could be out there. I don't know.
Oh, it probably is. My favorite was the disposable clothes. There was just a big box of shirts, and you ripped it out. I was like, I need that so bad.
Yeah. You got to drink the sports drink with we need the electrolytes.
I was gonna say, what's an electrolyte?
We can't get any plants to grow. We're watering them with the electrolytes.
That's right. It's what's in Brondo. Terry Crews is the president.
Apparently we missed a bunch of chat. Sergio said at one time I was all Dewalt, now I only buy Milwaukee. Oh, one of those red guys, huh? So what I love about Milwaukee, not the place, it's fine too. No, what I do like about Milwaukee Tools though is that they're very quick to innovate. Like they'll take the most ridiculous thing and be like, "Oh, we need this thing to be cordless," and then they'll just make a cordless one, and it's fantastic. Dewalt's a little late to the gate on a lot of their stuff. They are starting to release a lot more now, but that's the one thing that I've really always liked about Milwaukee. The reason I never went to Milwaukee was I had already bought all Dewalt stuff, and I'm not changing batteries now. Like I got a lifetime of batteries out there, and I'm not changing. And then Brian said, mine's far from stock, linear rails and BMG extruder. He's talking about is, listen, I'm not picking on anybody who has a Creality printer. I own 2 of them. Yep. But, like, it's not, I'm picking on the company. Yeah, Adam said his has been solid. No, I mean I've watched what Chuck has done with his, and it's pretty impressive. I'm just not pleased with the company. So
Yep.
I need to reach out to Chuck because when I first started the garage channel, he had sent me a message and asked me if he could give me feedback. And of course I responded to him the same way I did everybody else. Just don't hurt my feelings. No. I tell him just like I tell everybody else. Absolutely, you can give me feedback. Like I'm not thin-skinned, I can take it. So he had given me some feedback on the first video and stuff, and then we didn't release another video for 9 months. And it wasn't because of Chuck, but I wonder if Chuck thinks it's because of Chuck because he never gave me any more feedback. So I really need to reach out to him and just be like, "Hey, I'd still take your feedback."
Yeah, I love Chuck to death, and like Chuck's, I don't know how he feels about it, but I've told him before, he's kind of one of my mentors as far as this whole thing goes.
Absolutely.
And I always kind of feel bad because Chuck jumps in to help. Like he's like, you should try doing this, you should try doing this, and it's going to improve YouTube or whatever it might be. He always jumps in to help, and it's like the stuff that he says makes total sense, and I get it, but I never end up doing any of it. And I feel kind of bad. It's like I'm wasting his time. He wants to help me, but I can't help myself. You know? So.
Absolutely. Well, I always feel bad when people give you feedback, but like you already knew that. Like you did something, you realized when you did it that it wasn't the right way, but it was just kind of the way it had to be done or whatever. And then somebody's like, "Hey, so just as a suggestion to you, maybe don't do it like that." And then like I always want to just go like, "Well, yeah, I know." But then you seem like a know-it-all, So then you're like, "Oh, that's a good idea." Then you just seem like a dumbass. But no, I'm always open, and it's funny too because even like with this video that I released on Friday, James had messaged me and he's like, "Well, he goes, oh, you did a great job on that." And he goes, "Yeah, are you looking for any feedback?" I'm like, "I'm always looking for feedback, And then what he told me was exactly what my wife told me. So, and I'm always going to listen to my wife, but she was like, "That video was really boring." I'm like, "That's because you don't like car stuff." But she actually ran the camera for me for all of the interview shots. So, like she was my cam op. It was pretty cool.
Nice. Steven, this is that cube printer that I built. It's got exo slides on it, so it's a scratch build. I did use some Railcore parts though. I had an extra set, so I used a few of those.
Oh, I thought maybe that was the Tronxy.
No. No.
James still has his and was talking about fixing it. I'm like, why would you even bother?
He needs to just give up. I'm
Just
sorry.
let that thing die a slow, painful death.
Let it go.
Use the parts for something else.
I don't even. I boxed it up and shipped all the parts to somebody. I don't even remember who it was now.
I remember that happening, but I don't remember who it went to either.
Mm-mm. Yeah. I don't know, man. I tell people that I've almost quit YouTube several times, and it's really not. It's not the YouTube is difficult, because it is. I mean, I don't understand it. I really don't.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, but it's not really that. It's like so, and you're a person. Sometimes you get in these moods, and you think certain things, but it's a lot of it is like, am I done? Like, am I still useful? like do I have anything else that I can tell people, that would help them out? And there's always new stuff coming out and things like that I could attempt to try to help with. But at the end of the day, I still really don't understand this thing. So I always question that, is it worth continuing? And so far, it has been. So I continue on, but I don't know. It is difficult. It's not the easiest thing to do every week.
No, and what I learned, I'm having a coughing fit, by the way. What I learned is that the 3D printing YouTube is super, super hard because it's a fairly small group. I mean, there's a lot of us, but it's, in the grander scheme of things, it's a pretty small group.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, as soon as people buy a 3D printer, they think, I should start a YouTube channel. So there's a lot of competition to be the first one out with a video.
Yeah.
And then, when you're somebody like me who procrastinates on a lot of things, and I have to compete with somebody like you who makes content like crazy, then it's even harder, Nothing on you,
Yeah.
But and then it's funny because James and I, for a long time, like, we kind of have a running joke, but like I would say to him, hey, I came up with this idea. I'm gonna make a video doing blah blah blah. And he would show me his notes, and he already had that on his notes. And it would go the same, both ways. He'd be like, oh, I'm gonna make this video, and I'm like, I'm already working on that video. It's like the two of us were always, with the same stuff. But it is. I mean, YouTube as a whole is hard to do anyway, but it's really hard in the 3D printing community just because so many of us are on YouTube. So I don't know. I just got to the point where I kind of ran out of ideas. I didn't have that wow factor anymore. Like I don't know if I ever had the wow factor, but we'll just say I did. But so yeah, and then it just kind of, and then with the garage channel, I forget what I was doing the other day. I was doing something and it didn't go right, or it didn't come out how I wanted it to, or whatever. And I, just for the briefest of moments, got hit by imposter syndrome. Like, all of a sudden I said to myself, I have no business doing this. Like, there's so many people out there that are so much better at this than I am. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then I thought, screw those people. And I just kept on. Like I've surrounded myself on the automotive side with some big names, not that they know who I am. I'm not saying like I'm in the circle, but like that's where I've started to build my circle. Right. And then I watch it, what these guys do, and it's like, wow, like how can I compete with that? But they also have like, Motor Trends budgeting and Discovery Channel's budgeting, and it's like I'm paying for this crap out of my own pocket.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, imposter syndrome hits all of us at some point, and you wonder, like, do I keep going? But you got to think about how many people would be very disappointed if you stopped. Not saying you should run your life based around, disappointing other people, because I disappoint other people a lot. But
well, that's part of what keeps me going. I mean, just that notion, and like feedback. The comments on videos and things. Half the time they're beating you down, but then the really important ones are like, you help that one person with this problem, and that's all I ever set out to do. You get these really long comments about how they were getting ready to throw it out the window, and then they found this one piece of video and it actually fixed it. I was like, that's it. Yep. That's all I did it for. That guy right there.
Yep.
That's really the only reason why I keep turning it out.
Well, and then my wife, like she would say to me, because I would say, I just don't know. I don't know what to make content on anymore, or you know, oh, I was going to do this video and now somebody else released it. And the other thing that bites too, if I make a video and 3 years later Joel makes a video on the same topic, I'm the copycat. And I'm just picking on Joel because I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't matter. And it's even gone the same way. I forget what video I made, and then you made one later, and I got accused of being a copycat of yours. And I'm like, but I released that video like 6 months before him. Like, you know, it's not as good, but that doesn't mean I did it for, second. But
Right.
so so that part's hard too. But my wife always says to me, she says, even if your content is something that somebody else has done, or whatever, you teach it differently than they do.
Right.
And everybody learns different. So even if the content's out there, somebody may need you to teach it to them. There's got to be a reason they're showing up for your stuff.
There you go.
Well, that's the end of the stream. Goodbye, everybody.
Martin actually joined us. Hello, Martin. I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Oh, he pops in once in a while. Right here at the very, very end. He probably wasn't going to show up today, but then he's seen that you were here. So welcome to the Chris Riley Show with that Glenn guy.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, it was really nice having you on.
Yeah, it was good to chat with you. I haven't talked to you in a long time.
And I'll say it again. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah.
You want to come on, you just give me a heads up, and I just won't send James the link. He's going to be mad that I said that. I'm just kidding, James. I love you, brother.
Yeah, so. James, 100%. I'm glad that you come to these every Sunday. So with Glenn, he needs a friend. That's just for you, James.
Well, my mother does pay him well to be my friend. So, but no, it was really nice. I'm really glad that you came on. I don't know if my wife was pleased that you came on, because then she got muscled out. No, I'm sure she doesn't look forward to sitting here for 2 hours, but she would absolutely do it to support me. I kid you not. I could tell her, listen, I need you to duct tape the camera to your head and run behind me. And she would do it if it's what I need. Like, she is the most supportive person that I know in the whole world. So
that's awesome.
So she was going to sit here for 2 hours and read the chat to me so I could work. And she was going to be my Xander. That's what Xander used to do for me. He used to read me the chats. But
I used to be so jealous of you, man, when at the beginning, like when we started spinning up all the live streams and stuff. I was like, that guy's got a built-in producer. I cannot keep up with that. I was like, can I rent your kid for a while? I need him to read.
The problem was he would only read to me the comments that pertain to him. If you go back and watch the old stuff, like, he would only read the questions pertaining to him, and I'm like, you got to read the ones for me too. So, but the Xander's Thing Thursday will still be the same format. We're going to print something offline, just probably not from Thingiverse anymore. Zach will talk about it. He'll probably make up some cool story about it for 4 hours that I'll have to edit down to like 7 minutes. But the end of Xander's Thing Thursday, we did the joke where I would write it on a whiteboard and I would cover up the punchline and I'd make Xander read it. So he had never seen the joke before I revealed the punchline, and it was very effective with Xander. But with Zach, I've gotten into the habit of, I love to tell Zach dumb dad jokes.
Right.
And his reactions to them, I can't even tell the jokes anymore without nearly peeing myself. Like, as I'm telling the joke, I don't even get to the end of the joke to get to the punchline. Like, I lose it telling the joke, not because the joke's that good, but because I know it's coming. I know the reaction's coming. So I think that's the way we're going to run the joke, is it's going to be me telling Zach the jokes, and I usually get him. He'll know that it's going to be a joke at that point, but like, we'll just be driving along in the car. What did I say to him last night? We were coming back from the store, and I said to him, yeah, did you hear about all the people that went to the big Lego sale? And he goes, there was a big Lego sale? I said, yeah, they were lined up for blocks. And he's like, and that just makes me laugh even harder. So you guys have that to look forward to, because he's excited about doing it. He's already got an idea what he wants to do for his first model. So I told him that like he can pick anything he wants, as long as it's somewhat easy to print, and as long as it isn't something that Xander's already done.
There you go.
So he's got to go back through the catalog. So,
well, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Me too. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. So, I mean, I have a couple of those small, like the Tina 2 and stuff, printers they're slow and they don't have cooling fans, and they're very basic, but they're also very kid friendly. I mean, as kid friendly as a 3D printer can be. So my hope is that I can actually put that on his desk, and he'll be able to just print anytime he wants. So
cool.
We'll see how it goes. Not that these people don't know who you are, and not that they don't know what you got going, but do you have anything that you want to promote, plug?
No, but the sign up here is very impressive. I really like the banner. That's
the Chris Riley
cool.
show.
Yeah, that's really cool. That has a good ring to it. Now I want my own nighttime talk show.
Well, I'll be your Ed McMahon if you ever do it.
That would be awesome. Nothing to promote. This good times. I'm glad I had some free time to hang out. I wanted to catch up, and with everybody in chat. I honestly, I haven't done a live stream of any kind on my channel since November. So wow. So it's been a while. I need to get back into the swing of things. But
and it's weird. It's weird when you go to do it after you haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like I'll think about it. It's like, okay, I'm going to do it this day, and then I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't want to. I don't know. So, yeah.
Just name it the CR show. Well, I can send you that. I can send you that banner in Photoshop format so that you can use it for whatever you like. I just thought it would be fun. And then for those of you who didn't see the thumbnail, make sure you go back and check out the thumbnail of this video. So I made, when James and I started doing these, I'm lazy. There's no question about it. I went in and made 50 thumbnails. And of course, they're all exactly the same except for the number changes. Episode 1, episode 2, So I made them through 50. So some joke was made back around, it was probably around 25 or so. Like, oh, are we going to keep doing this? And I'm like, I got 50 thumbnails. We're going to do it at least through 50. Well, this is episode 40. So I don't know what's going to happen in 10 episodes. I might have to actually come up with a new thumbnail, but I don't know. I think overall it's going fine. I would like a bigger audience, but we took our audience from 3D printing, and we don't really talk much about 3D printing anymore. So
yeah,
who knows? But I do appreciate you being here. It was a good time. The 2 hours went really fast, and I actually got some stuff done.
Excellent.
So that was pretty good. So this is the part where I say thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. We appreciate you. I know you only came today because it's the Chris Riley show, but that's okay. We had some much higher numbers today than typical, and there was a few names that scrolled by in there that I didn't recognize. So that was good. James should be back next week. Maybe I'll take the day off and make James do it by himself. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. So we should be back next week. I don't think there's anything going on. If you guys are thinking about going to Murph, make it happen. Murph or Earth, pick one. Pick them both. Doesn't matter. But you should definitely attend at least one before your 3D printing hobby burns out.
There you go.
Before you lose interest. It's really a lot of fun. It really, really is. And you'll come home feeling like crap. You'll have the con crud and you'll be tired, but memories are made. Thomas said, I'll step in for you, Glenn. So it'll be Thomas Maker Viking and James. Except for all these streams are on my channel. Boy, that'd be scary. Mainly with that foul-mouthed Canadian. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week. And as always, until next time, print on.